Okay, so we are starting on Objective 226, where we will be finding the sum of the interior angles of a polygon. So here we have several different examples of polygons. We have a 3-sided, a 4-sided, a 5-sided, and a 6-sided polygon. And we want to find the interior angles, which are just going to be the inside sum of all of the angles on the inside of the polygon. Alright, so we can draw a few extra parts into these polygons to help us find the interior sum. Alright, so if we connect right here our two vertices going across the polygon, alright, we've already talked about this in quadrilaterals, this is our diagonal. Okay, so we're really focusing on non-adjacent connection of vertices. So here we have our vertex, and then these are the two adjacent vertices. So we don't want to worry about the sides. We're strictly focusing on connecting vertices that are non-adjacent. That connection gives us our diagonal. So in the quadrilateral, there's only one case of the diagonal from a single vertex that is not going to connect an adjacent vertex. In our 5-sided figure, we can start from our main vertex, and this would be adjacent. So here we have one or two potential diagonals from one vertex, again our key vertex. And the last shape, if we start with our vertex here, we have our adjacent, so we can move to 1, 2, 3 potential diagonals. And again, there are many more diagonals, but for coming from one vertex, these are the different diagonals that we can come up with. Alright, so let's arrange these shapes in sequential order according to their size, like this. Alright, so we can go ahead and pause the video and copy these shapes down. They don't have to be exact, but as long as you have the right number of sides. Okay, so go ahead and do that and catch up with me. So we have a 3-sided figure, a 4-sided figure, a 5-sided figure, and a 6-sided figure. Right? Again, what's going to be helpful is if we have our diagonals drawn in from one vertex. And this is going to help us find the interior sum of the polygon. Okay, so here are our diagonals. So, in addition to this, we are going to talk about the process that we're using to find the sum. Alright, and then over here we're going to write what is the sum of the interior angles. Okay, so a 3-sided figure, a triangle, we should know what the sum of the interior angles are. So by adding up all 3 sides, we know that we have 180 degrees. Right? So this is using the fact that we have one triangle, which is 180 degrees. So that's going to be times our one triangle, right, which is going to be equal to 180 degrees. Right? Now, over here, our quadrilateral, our diagonal from one vertex to the other, right, gives us these two triangles. We know that this triangle is 180 degrees and this triangle is 180 degrees. So we're going to say 180 degrees times 2 gives us the sum of the quadrilateral, which is 360 degrees. Okay? In the same way, we know that here we have 1, 2, 3 triangles, which means we're going to have 180 degrees times our 3 triangles to give us our 540 degrees. And last, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. So 180 degrees for each triangle times 4 is going to give us a total of 720 degrees. Right? Now, this is convenient for something like 6, but what happens when we have a bigger number. Well, let's follow the pattern. What happens if we have 7 sides? We can see that as the sides are increasing, they're increasing by 1. Right? We can also see that our number of triangles is also increasing by 1. So we know that we're going to have 5 triangles. Each triangle is going to be 180, which is going to give us a total of 900 degrees on the interior of the shape. Okay, so we see the pattern. What about if we have a figure with n sides? All right. Well, we're noticing that we're multiplying 180 degrees times the number of triangles that we have. Now, how are we getting this number of triangles? Well, we started with 7 sides and we ended up with 5 triangles. We have 6 sides and we ended up with 4 triangles. So we could take the number of sides and subtract 2. Right? That is going to be our number of diagonals. Right? And it's, I'm sorry, that's going to be our number of triangles. Right? And from that, we can then find our sum, which we are going to call I, right? The sum of the interior angles. Okay, so we are going to be working with this tomorrow. We are also going to start discussing exterior angles, number of diagonals, and what happens when we have regular polygons instead of just any old n-gon, right? N-gon. All right, so that's it for today.